So today I thought it would be so fun to interview Taylor on how she grew Dot & Company from a small marketing business to a client account management agency with over 30 team members, and we are continuously growing. So let's chat growing an agency with our very own Taylor McMaster, and we will discover how we got here.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
So, Tay, are you excited?
I am. Usually we're the ones interviewing people, so I'm ready. I'm excited.
This was kind of my idea. Not that I'm taking full credit for it, but I did want people to know that Taylor didn't grow up knowing that she was going to thrive in the account management space, but there are sort of different layers on how Taylor got to being revolutionizing client account management and how we've kind of built this agency all together. But I do love the background story that we do share with everybody, even in the process of hiring and when you meet with people. So maybe for all the people who have not heard it before, Taylor, why don't you tell us a little bit about the early days and then growing and turning Dot Marketing into Dot & Company?
Okay, so I was working in marketing for a while and always knew that I wanted to start my own business, but didn't really know what to do. And then kind of fell into the agency world. So realized that there was this opportunity where you could work from home. I didn't know that was a thing. And I could work with clients and kind of run a quote agency. And so I kind of just started looking into it, ended up quitting my job, draining my retirement savings, and starting a marketing agency. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had some clients and I was running ads and I was building landing pages and I was doing all of the things. But what I realized was that running an agency where I was doing all of the actual work wasn't for me, because I'm better chatting with clients. I've always been really organized. I love processes, but I'm not as analytical. So I didn't love being on the back of Facebook ads and coming up with new techniques and kind of finding a way to drive results. So I was chatting with a number of agency owners at this event and just kind of saying, listen, I don't really want to run an agency anymore. I just want to talk to clients. And they all kind of said to me, there's such a need in our industry for somebody to be a good account manager with marketing background like you have. And so I was like, well, I just kind of had this gut feeling like there was something here. And I said, okay, either I can continue to run a marketing agency, or I can try this and I can work with some of these people and do account management and figure out if a fractional account manager makes sense or if it can work, what this could look like. And at the beginning, it was pretty scrappy. I'm not going to lie. I was good at the account management, but I didn't plan to grow a business out of it. Well, I kind of thought I might, but it was, just early stages. And so that's kind of how it started. And then I was working with a few agencies. It was going really well. I loved it. And I felt really in flow with kind of the work that I was doing. And then I had a lot of people reaching out from my network. They were, hey, I need help. Hey, I heard you do account management. Hey, can you help me? And I realized that I can't, because I only have so many hours in the day, so much brain space, and realized that if I'm going to grow this thing, I have to grow a team, because it's not just going to be me. But that's kind of the very beginning stages. And then obviously Katie and I synced up and we started the business. And, even at the beginning, what we were doing was pretty scrappy as well. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how we would kind of crack new markets, how we would scale, how we would hire, how we would train, how we would systematize everything. But over the last 3 years, we figured it out and here we are.
Yeah, I think that is such a good sort of background story too. We always talk about entrepreneurial spirit. You didn't wake up one day and thought, when you were 8 years old, client account management is for me, but you really rode that entrepreneurial wave. And it kind of led you to something that was not only a wonderful idea, it was new to the industry, it was in high demand. And I think that's actually kind of the next point I want to make. you had this great idea, you tested it, we tested it together. And I think scrappy is the best word for it because, that's how you get to a level that is really growing and scaling. You have to kind of test the waters, make sure that people want this. And obviously so many do. I think we also understood what the industry needed. So why don't you kind of talk about that a little bit, Taylor, about how you identified these holes and kind of solved the problem for agencies?
Yeah. So the first realization was that there's so many small agencies out there, and not even small in like revenue, but just agencies that didn't want to have a 50-person in-house team.
Mhm.
Like, that's like small-ish agencies. And the biggest thing I realized was that they all needed somebody really good. And that was like just baseline. They just needed somebody who understood marketing,
Mhm.
who just did things, just could think for themselves,
Mhm.
who could communicate with clients. And I realized unless an agency had somebody like that, the agency owner would never get out of that seat, because if they
Mhm.
just had somebody junior or something like that, it would just take so long. So that was kind of the biggest thing, was like, they just needed quality over quantity. And I
Mhm.
realized that I personally got bored doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I wanted to work in multiple agencies. And I figured that there was other people out there who felt the same. Like, they didn't want to just work in one agency 40 hours a week. They wanted the diverse clients and agencies and like the fast pace. And so I figured, like, if I could just replicate myself and find people who also enjoyed this, then maybe this could work. But I think that obviously now, over the last 3 years, we've really figured out the exact niche that we serve and what we do best at.
Mhm.
At the beginning, we were working with different types of agencies. Maybe they were looking for more of like an assistant
Mhm.
versus account manager. And we realized that our skill set is very much so on the deep account management work versus assistant work. And so we've really figured out our path, and now we know exactly who we serve and what we do and what we do best. So yeah.
There's so many wins in that too. It's like, we were actually doing remote life before COVID, before the world was doing remote life, right? So we really were able to pivot in between accounts, which serviced our brains as something that was exciting and challenging and different on the day-to-day. So things like agency burnout wasn't that real because we had the balance, or things like being overworked and underpaid, that wasn't a thing because we had bandwidth that we were providing for these agencies. So although I guess that was different in the scrappy days, but we kind of figured it out how like this remote life can really transition into something that is really exciting for people. And it's not, I work from home because of COVID. I work from home because I want to, and it provides flexibility, and I'm able to go in between accounts, in between clients super efficiently because nobody's behind me talking. I'm not in a cubicle. I don't have to spend 4 hours in the car traveling back and forth. Like, there's so many wins to this life that is just appealing to people. And that is something that I think we knew about, but I can remember like the early days, and we reached out to Emma. We knew Emma had really great experience. Thank goodness, because we really kind of found those superstars, and we continue to find superstars after superstars, which is what agency owners need. They need that person to kind of level up their client experience so clients stay and can be really, knowledgeable in the space. So that, coupled with all the things, I have so much to talk about, but yeah, that is kind of, we were doing this before people were working from home, and it's super appealing to find those unicorns who want to live in the same space.
Taking a quick pause on today's episode to talk to you about the beginning of a referral-worthy client experience. I want to introduce you to our complete onboarding package for digital marketing agencies. So this isn't your first rodeo. You know the client experience can make or break a project. Forget the blood, sweat, and tears that you and your team have poured into a project. If the client doesn't feel as important as their project, you won't land those referrals your business is banking on. But who has the time to baby their clients and promise them the results? The good news is onboarding your clients is the beginning of that referral-worthy client experience and your secret to repeat clients. And in the complete onboarding package, we're showing you how to onboard your clients like professional client account managers. That's us. So what is the complete onboarding package? It is everything you need to know about onboarding. As dedicated client account managers for some of the world's most successful digital marketing agencies, we've onboarded more clients than we can count. We've tried and tested and retested our process to get it perfect, and that is now this complete onboarding package. From the sales call to the launch, the complete onboarding package shows you how we onboarded clients into digital marketing agencies step by step, including the exact tools and templates we use with real clients. You'll get a 24 step-by-step guide, 22 in-depth video tutorials, and more than 18 tools and templates, so you can take action right away, swipe, and implement right into your agency. So if you are an agency, make sure you head over to clientaccountmanager.com/onboarding to get your hands on the complete onboarding package.
So we had some major wins, kind of some really big successes, but what did you do, Taylor, kind of early on that drove success for Dot & Company?
I like this question. So the biggest thing that I realized at the beginning was that I couldn't do it all. And I know that sounds so broad, but I realized that in order for us to grow a team, I couldn't manage people and I couldn't manage our clients for me to see success. I knew that I was good at sales. I knew that I was really good at account management, obviously, but I knew I had to find somebody right away who could do kind of the things that I wasn't good at. So Katie, obviously, like hiring you to manage our clients and to manage the team right from the beginning was crucial, because hiring somebody to do all those things right from the beginning, I think made us very successful quickly, because we had you in that seat. So I could focus on what I was good at. You could focus on what you're. So now when we're chatting with agency owners and they're like, when's the right time? I'm like, now, do it, because it's like the compound effect. If you wait a year to hire an account manager, think about the growth that you've lost and the momentum that you've lost. So the sooner the better. And I would say that was really crucial.
Totally. And I think that's so intuitive of you to even the business enough to be like, this is a gap in Dot & Company and this is what I need help with. And the more we kind of grew the team, that was so evident. I was like, you do this, I'm going to do this. And that's our stroke of genius. So I think that's a totally good takeaway from even growing your business and starting those early days. There are people that are good at everything, don't get me wrong, but there is often people that need a little bit of help. Not that they need help, but it's just the balance of the sales. I always joke, Taylor says I can't go on sales calls. I'll literally say yes to everything, and I'll say it in a terrible timeline, and I'll be like, yes, whatever you need, you can have it tomorrow, and you can have my child, and how about my dog? Do you want my house? What do you want? So it's just knowing those, not even personality traits, but those strengths of people is so good. So that is a huge takeaway for growing your business now, to kind of keep going with the momentum. When did you know that you needed more people, more help? So I think our help grew with client account managers for sure. Then we have a whole support system on the VA side and on the sales side. As that pipeline grew, how did you know that it was time to kind of do that?
Yeah. So I think as a business owner, you need to recognize when you're doing things that are not worth your time. And not to sound, entitled, but you are the visionary. You are the person who needs to be driving the business forward. So for example, when we started this podcast 2 years ago, I was doing all the editing, the copy, the everything for the podcast. Right. I was spending my weekends doing it. It was taking a lot of time, but I knew I had to do that to get it off the ground. And once I realized how much time it was taking me, that's when I knew I needed support. So it was I was spending too much time on this. Let's bring somebody in. Or for you, for example, Katie is high level and she was spending so much time on reviewing applications. We get 500 plus applications a month. She was reviewing them. She was filtering them. She was emailing them, booking interviews, sending follow-ups, getting them in CAM school. We realized that was 20 hours a week. So that's when we realized these are things that she doesn't need to be doing. Let's bring some support in. So it was almost just as we added layers onto the business, we knew we needed help. For example, I've always done all of the sales calls, but over time it's gotten heavy and, I have things I want to work on and I still love it. I love talking to agencies, but I just don't have all the time in the world anymore. So now I've trained up other team members to help me with that. And it's just kind of like over time realizing when it's time to add layers. And that's just like for any agency owner, right? Like they come to us, they're like, when do I hire an account manager? It's like, think about how much time you spend on client meetings and client communication, right? Like,
exactly.
If it's a lot, well, then you could be selling, you could be growing your business.
You could have that time back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's kind of how we started.
So that's actually the perfect segue. So find somebody who's on your wavelength, but that is the perfect segue into offering. And I think that's when, we started those early days, scrappy days, moving to a really refined process with really awesome, refined people, and our CAM sort of agency pipelines are flowing. But let's not stop there. We wanted to add to the business and keep going. So there were other offers, like not even the .shop, but the training. So tell the listeners how you kind of went from client account management, people service to training and really sort of developing that side of the biz as well.
Yeah. So I think the reason that we've seen success is because we've really stayed in our lane. We've stayed in our lane of account management and stuck to it. And for the most part, that's been service. You need an account manager, we can give you an account manager. But we realized that a lot of these things that we were doing and training on and processing out were repeatable that people needed inside of other agencies. So we kind of started to like slowly test our market and say, oh, you need an onboarding checklist, we use this. Or, hey, you need training for your account manager. So it kind of like slowly started. And then Emma, Katie, and I kind of developed that side of the business. But it started really from like our own using the tools that we have, but then agencies were reaching out, asking for things. They were asking for training. They were asking for SOPs and what we use and what tools that we use, because this is all we do all day is account management. So it kind of started with like staying in our account management lane, but layering on kind of the tools that we already have and optimizing. And then of course we needed training for our own team. So then we could give that to other agencies. And so it just kind of evolved, but really still sticking in our lane.
And I think it's naive of us to think that this is the only avenue. I think this was huge for me, is that like people came to us and needed client account management for sure. They were a one-person show and they wanted to sort of, hire somebody that appeared to be full-time in their business. That looks great for them. But then there were also these agencies, like the other half of all the agencies that had key players inside their agencies that just needed a little bit of coaching, training to reach the next level. But knowing that these agencies had people that they were willing to invest in was a kind of, I guess, an eye-opener, or something that we were realizing, is that like, how dare us think that we have all the right people? No, the right people are out there working in agencies. They just need to be kind of dodified a little bit, and let us show you how we maximize efficiency and all of our templates and all of our checklists, and let us kind of information share, and they'll actually be a really awesome client account manager. And how lucky of you to already have this person. That's great. So I think that was something that we learned too. But more to all this is that we responded to agencies' need of something sort of more in-house, more one-on-one, very personal, and that was training for sure. So I think that might be all my questions, but Taylor, on our end note, what is the momentum as we keep going, as we keep growing and adding people to our team and working with different agencies? What is the sort of next step to keep the growth happening? What are your intentions or your best practices?
Yeah, so I'd say like for us, we've really systematized every piece of our business, and now it's just optimizing it. And that is like the fun part to be at, because we're not recreating everything that we're doing. We're optimizing what we're doing. We know how to hire. We know how to find the right people. We trust our systems. We know how to find agencies, vet them, get them on board. We know how to do all those things. So now it's just optimizing, which is so fun. And we're having like such a great time doing it. So I would say continuing to help agencies. That's what we're really passionate about. But then on the flip side, giving account managers their dream job, which is our dream job. So, continuing to kind of fill both pipelines and keep going is really our goal.
Totally. And I can feel that 100%. Supporting, responding, being proactive and innovative, that's always kind of our top of mind. So for all the agency owners listening, this is kind of our story, Dot & Company autobiography, and we are so excited to kind of share that with you. Of course, there's lots of opportunities on all sides of Dot & Company, so reach out. All the information's linked below, and make sure you connect with me and Taylor, even if you want to chat about growing an agency. Thank you all for listening. We're excited to share this story, and cheers to happy clients.
Cheers to happy clients.